Are you a watchman on the wall? What does it mean to watch? Matthew 24:42. Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your Adon, your master, is coming. Shalom, my friends. Someone asked me to do an Otiot study on the word watch in Matthew chapter 24, verse 42, chapter 25, verse 13, in the book of Mark, chapter 13, verse 33, and verse 35, chapter 14, verse 38, and other places in the word we see where Yahshua says, time and time again, watch. Therefore, and he's usually talking about the net chatef, the rapture, the harpazo. Watch therefore, because you don't know the hour in which your Adon, your master, comes. You know, we see it with the parable of the 10 virgins. 5 were wise, 5 were not. The 5 who weren't, they left, they came back, it was too late, the door was closed. And right after that, maybe even the last verse of that chapter, again, Yahshua says, watch therefore, be watchful. Some English versions say be alert. But what is the original Aramaic word that the Ruach HaKodesh had the chosen one to write down in the Father's word? What is the word that the Father says, commands us not to add to or take away from? Here, the Aramaic word is ait ta'iro. It's a little hard to pronounce. Ait ta'iro. And again, this is one of the longest words I've done. They seem to be coming up lately. There are actually 7 letters in this word. Aleph, Tau, Tau. I just put it there once because I needed room, and because it's just repeated. However, I'll make note of that. It's Aleph, Tau, Ayin, Yod, Resh, Wa. Now here, with the Otiot, we have the Father's word, which we hear in English as watch, be alert. We have the hidden meanings, you might say, that the Father put in this word. I'm telling you, through the Otiot, the Father made sure that His word would not be added to or taken away from. And it's the only way, because with all these languages, what does it mean to watch? The person who asked me to do this, he said, I think it's more than observance. Yes, my friend, it is. First we have Aleph, picture of the ox head. Abba, Father, Yahweh, headship. The ox head, why? Because the key to this oat is being yoked. And in this case, being yoked to the Father. The next oat is Tau. It's the Father's signature on us. It's marking us. It's a sign on us. It makes us a monument to Him, those who love Him. And it's repeated again. This word is spelled Aleph, Tau, Tau, Ayin, Yod, Resh, Wa. And whenever the Father repeats something, it's also a Hebrewism. When Yahshua said, truly, truly I say to you, Whenever a word is repeated like that, that's a Hebrewism, and it's a characteristic of the Father. When he repeats something, he's making note. Pay attention, this is something very important, is what he's saying. So then we go to ayin, picture of an eye, has to do with spiritual sight and vision. To watch, but also to know. And ayin speaks about his word and his ruach, his spirit, converging in your soul, converging in your living experience. Then we have yod, picture of an arm and a hand. It has to do with our actions, with our work. Resh, picture of a man's head, has to do with headship, who our headship is. In this case, again, it's to be the Father. Has to do with our thoughts. And of course, if Yahweh is our headship, our thoughts are all about him and his word. And then finally we have woha, the tent peg. Pitch a tent with Elohim. So, putting this all together, when he tells us to be watchmen, when he tells us to be alert, he's talking to those who are yoked to the Father, to those who have the Father's mark on them as a sign, his signature on them, those who have spiritual sight and vision. Or when he's saying to watch, he's saying to have spiritual sight and to have spiritual vision. And the only way that's going to happen is if his word and his ruach, his spirit, is converging in your living experience. And, of course, unless the Father's signature is on you, and unless you are yoked to the Father, you can't have spiritual sight and vision. His word and his ruach is not going to converge in your soul, in your living experience. Next we have yod. It's our actions and our work, followed by resh. Again, who is our headship? Our headship has to be Elohim, the Father, his Bain, his Son, Yahshua, and his indwelling Ruach HaKodesh, his Kodesh Spirit. And finally, the tent peg. We have to be pitching our tent with Elohim. So, when he says watch therefore, it is a lot more than just observance. You were right in your assumption on that one, my friend. It's you have to be yoked to the Father. You have to have his mark, his signature on you. You have to have his word and his indwelling ruach converging in your living experience, which gives you spiritual sight and vision. It's a matter of spiritual sight, not physical sight, that allows us to see him coming. He says he comes like a thief in the night, but not to you, not to the true believers. He doesn't come as a thief in the night. They will know he's coming, not in the flesh, not by setting dates and those kind of things. That's all in the flesh. There's a spiritual vision, a spiritual sight, and a spiritual knowing that he's coming, and even to see him. When he comes at the second coming, everyone on earth sees him coming. That's a physical appearance. But when he comes at the netchatef, the rapture, not everyone sees that. Only those whom the Father has chosen as a gift to his Son will see him. And it's going to be a spiritual seeing. If we're yoked to the Father, we have his signature on us, Aleph, Tau, and we have spiritual sight and vision, ayin, because His Word and His Ruach is converging in our living experience, then Yod, our actions and our work reveal that. It's obvious. And Resh, our headship is Elohim. Our thoughts are all about Elohim. That's obvious too. And then finally, Wah, those who have the spiritual sight and vision and are yoked to the Father and have His signature on them, that's the first half of the word. The second half is their actions and their thoughts reveal who their headship is. And finally, Wah, that reveals who they are too, because they are pitching their tent with Elohim, not with the world. This is what it means when He tells us to watch. Yoke yourself to the Father. Receive His mark on you. Be in the Word and have His Ruach growing in you so that you have spiritual sight and vision, and so that your works and your thoughts are in line with Him, and therefore, because of that, you are pitching your tent with Elohim. I hope and I pray that this video is a berekah to you, my friends. Shalom.
There's a river, there's a field, both are givers, both will